Hey, welcome to Shut Up and Talk to Me, Episode 3.
Episode 3.
Episode 3. I am Dan.
And I'm Chris.
And today is going to be a whole lot of video games.
And a lot of bitching.
A lot of bitching.
Yeah.
So the Nintendo Classic is coming out.
Starting right off with the bitching.
Yeah, directly into it.
So, the Nintendo Classic, if you don't know about it, it's literally like a mini Nintendo that is basically an emulator.
Mm-hmm.
And you can plug it into your HD TV and play 30 classic games.
Classic in air quotes.
In air quotes, because we talked about this a second ago, and most people don't care about most of these games.
Yeah, was there some shit
there's...
like Balloon Joust? I was like, I don't know.
There's like 7 games that are worth a damn on the whole thing. I want to say like the first 3 Marios are on it, so obviously people are going to play that. Zelda 1.
Legend of Zelda.
Zelda 2 sucked.
Nah, it just depends. It depends on who you are. It
sucked. Anyway, it was a 2D side-scroller that just was garbage, and that's why they never went back to that system. Like, there's a reason companies don't go... Anyways. Excite Bike is on there. I think that's cool.
Is there a Donkey Kong on there?
There is Donkey Kong, yeah. But then there's just some no-name, just pointless games that you're paying $2 each for. So the system is how much? It's $60?
Yeah, it's last I heard was $60.
It's going to be $59.99, which, I'm sorry, that's way too high. It should be $40 at the max.
It should be $20 and be extensible. You should be able to put other ROMs on it.
And that's what you're saying. And when he says other ROMs, he literally means other games. Because for the longest time now, we've had emulators on our computers where we have thousands of games.
You can just...
For free.
All the games, yeah. For free in
air
quotes,
yes.
Because it's like this weird gray area of like, well, it's not really a gray area, but like, if you don't own the games, it's piracy... But you can't get the games.
But if you own the physical copy, you're allowed to download the ROM.
It's a defense. You're not technically allowed to download it. Yeah, it's
whatever.
Like this weird...
They really haven't attacked it. Like, yeah, they really haven't.
Yeah, because it's not affecting anybody's bottom line. Nobody cares if you download fucking Balloon Joust.
Million classic games. What is up with you and Balloon Joust? I don't even know if that's a thing.
I'm just thinking of, there's some game on there that's got balloons, and then I'm thinking of Joust, and I'm just calling it Balloon.
I gotcha. It does have Kid Icarus, so I mean, like it's got like
it's got a handful,
upwards of 10. So let's say 1/3 are games we really want to revisit. And yet I look at my Facebook feed and all my friends were like, "I'm getting this! Oh my god!"
Yeah,
they're freaking out. And it's like I've hopped on a bunch of them and been like, "I've had this for a long time."
Yeah, like I have this now. I can go get it right now.
Yeah,
on my computer, on my laptop, which I can take everywhere.
Yeah, and not only can I have it on my laptop, but I can hook my laptop via HDMI up to my frickin' TV.
Yeah, right. Or like, I'm pretty sure I could go. There's an emulator app. I'm pretty sure your phone could have it.
Oh, your phone can have it. There's millions of emulator apps on the phone. Not millions, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
This thing comes out on November 11th of this year. So they're going for the Christmas cash grab.
Yeah.
I don't know much about...
That is the only way that they're gonna... If they let it out now,
yeah,
people would buy it for like a week and be like, fuck this.
Yep. But if it's a Christmas thing, like, so many people are going to be like, hey, you want to throw that in? Like, I want a Nintendo
cool, like,
Classic.
Stuffer, yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm not happy about it, because I've had this theory on Nintendo for a while now, and it's not so much a theory as to what they're actually doing, which is bullshitting their customer base. They're releasing a lot of really gimmicky stuff, and people are all over it all the time. And I have a hard time. This has gone on for a long time.
So yeah, so they're just like cashing in on the goodwill that they've built up.
Basically, I mean, if you go back to when I think the gimmicks really started was with the Wii, because I thought the DS was fantastic. Every handheld they've released has been great.
Yeah.
Like, it's worked, it's been great. The Wii, however, this motion control nonsense where most people disliked it.
No, but then it boomed. Like, that guy...
Well, it boomed because it was this casual system that people loved.
Well, but,
everyone was playing it. Like, I worked at a game store during, like, when that came out,
mm-hmm.
and I had people in their 50s, 60s, 70s actually coming in looking for a Wii, and they'd be like, "Oh, are you buying it for your grandkid or your son?" Or no, they're buying it for themselves.
Which is cool. Like, that's actually...
That was cool. Like, we were growing the video game base.
Yeah.
But... Where's the retention? Like, where do they come back?
So, like, I think that's what, like, the ultimate failing of the Wii and motion control was, is that once people, like, figured it out and got used to it, and they figured out that you just, like, sit on your couch and just flick your wrist a little bit and accomplish
everything. Same
everything.
thing, yeah. Instead of you doing all these huge accented motions of, like, bowling and, like, hitting a baseball bat, and people, you're right, they just sat down on the couch and they would just flick their wrist, and they're like, I'm playing.
Yeah, and it's like, once you got to that point where, like, people figured out the system and the pattern, they like, internalized, like, how little they actually had to do. People always optimized for doing as little as possible.
Yeah.
And, like, when you're, it's like, oh, I mean, this whole system, it's all a gag. It's all a gimmick, really. Like, you don't have to do any of it. And once people kind of figure that out, then it lost all that. It lost all the big exaggerated movement. It stops being like that big party thing. It's unless you're all drunk or something, then it's still probably great. But
it was pretty good party, like, drunk, whatever.
Yeah, but, like, once you kind of get past that phase and you realize you don't have to do all the movement, then it's just this, you know, it's just, I'm just kind of flicking stuff. And I think that's what killed it, is if you had actually needed to get up and do those things and, like, really engage with the system on that big grandiose scale that they sold it on.
Right.
Then it would have been fine, but because you didn't, once people learn to exploit it, then it just kind of dies out.
It's whatever, and I still have the same issue that I've had with Nintendo since the GameCube, and, well, it's kind of since they started, was they don't search for third-party IPs, like, at all. They don't care. They're like, we have 7 games that we're just going to remake over and over again, and people are going to eat them up, which they frickin' do.
They picked a good 7, I guess.
I mean, the games are great, don't get me wrong, but, like, there comes a point where, like,
more.
Yeah, you want more if you're a hardcore gamer.
Right, like, I can only,
so, like, the Wii U got Bayonetta 2, like, exclusively,
that's right. Oh, yeah,
and that was a big pickup. I was like, wow, because I love the first Bayonetta.
A lot of people did. It
was a great game.
It looks great. I haven't played it. It looks great.
But I haven't played 2 because I have to buy a fucking Wii. And I'm not going to buy a fucking Wii U. It's like, it's not going to happen unless they go on sale for like $90.
No, yeah, and the Wii U's already, like, dying, right?
Kinda.
Because isn't there, what's the next thing?
It's kind of going up and down. Like, they're buying it again because, like, man, all these great games are coming out, and then, like, nothing comes out, and then they don't buy. So it's whatever. They have the NX coming out.
That's what, yeah.
I don't know what the hell it is. No one knows what it is. Okay. They're not even talking about it. Like, they're, like, teasing it, like, woohoo. And then, like, they're even showing, like, that was ridiculous. They're even showing, like, game previews, and then at the end you see, like, NX on the bottom, and you're like, okay, so it can run this game. So it's gonna be... It's clearly a system, controller? Yeah. It's a system. Like, it's a console.
Everybody assumes
it's not handheld, because they announced that they are doing... Or someone found blueprints or whatever, like, patents, that they are doing another handheld system.
They should totally... I'm gonna derail for a second.
That's fine.
Like,
calm me down a little bit.
Yeah. So, like, I feel like the people that are gonna, with air quotes, win the console market is whoever realizes first that, oh, if we just make a handheld and, like, a dock that you can get with it, or you can just plug it into this dock, and then that dock will be hooked up to your TV, and it can have controllers, and it's basically just a mobile console.
Yeah, I mean,
you can just go around and be like...
It's funny, because the Wii U kind of is that a
little bit, yeah.
It's like the controller, and you can, like, play it in a different room, which is, like...
No, but I mean, like, if you could just straight, like, take up... Like, this is a mobile game, or, like, a mobile device. My
console,
yeah. Like, you can just sit in your car and, like, play this thing, and then go to somebody's house and just, like, pop it into their TV, like, connect it up, however, and if they have controllers, if you have controllers, now everybody can play, and it's on TV, like...
That'd be great.
It'd be great, yeah.
Now we're just talking about a great console that Nintendo's not making.
That's what's, like, I'm saying, whoever does that would do awesome, I think. I think whoever does that would do really great, because...
Yeah, and there comes a point now where we have to have the talk of, like, when are we coming to the point of, like, just an in-home, just a functional, easy-to-use PC?
That's always been the end goal. Like,
let's see, I don't know.
Well, so, like, I want to say back in high school, I remember having conversations with people like, where do we go after, like, PlayStation 2? I was like, man, we've got a couple generations of consoles left before it's just like once everybody's comfortable enough with PCs or just the idea of technology and like interfacing with it, we're not going to need consoles anymore. It's just going to be PCs, but like we need to figure out a way to kind of streamline PCs a little bit more, because the big problem they have is like all the hardware is constantly changing.
And streamlining them into like a home theater system.
Totally just being this thing that you can like stuff in a corner and everybody can just use it, or it connects to everything. Like
instead of what they're trying to do with like televisions, where it's like you can connect this to your PC via wireless or whatever. And like we'll stream episodes. It happens on Samsung TVs. They have something called All Share, where like if I have a computer downstairs and I want to run, or I have the files on that computer, they can access the files from their TV.
Okay, yeah, so it's like a dumb terminal then.
Yeah, so they're already kind of getting there, but as far as consoles and video games go, like who do you think is going to strike first? Like with like just a general overall PC. I mean, we already have the Steam machines coming out of the Steam boxes. What are they called?
Yeah, I think Steam Box, right?
Sure, yeah. Steam box, Steam machine.
I don't know, but all I know is that it seems like they flopped to some extent.
Have they been released?
Yeah, they came out.
Yeah, so they flopped.
They came out.
No one has them.
And like a few, like you just stopped hearing about them. Like you just stopped hearing about them.
And it's a great idea because it's small, it's upgradable.
But it's also like streamlined upgradable. Like
exactly. Like you don't need to be a genius to plug in, play, a graphics card or add memory.
Yeah.
So this flopped, which is...
I mean, I don't know if it flopped, but it certainly hasn't
I don't
taken
know
off
a damn person that has it or has spoken about it. That's why I don't know.
Like, it runs PC... Like, they're still fighting the battle that everybody's been fighting and they're just failing at, is you have a controller for things that aren't built for a controller or don't work as good with a controller. Like, what am I going to do? Play first-person shooters with a controller, like, versus PC players? It doesn't work.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't matter how good their little haptic feedback touchpads on it are.
On the thumbs.
Yeah, it's never going to be as good as a mouse. Like,
it just isn't. Like, yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. The console wars or whatever you want to call them, I don't know if they're going to die down.
Industry.
When everyone's just going to combine into one thing and just be happy and everyone makes money.
So you asked who's going to be first. My guess would probably be Microsoft.
You're thinking Microsoft?
Just because they're already almost there with what they're doing.
They're pretty close. I mean, Sony is too. It doesn't seem like they are.
But the thing is Microsoft has that in. Like, they have Windows. They had their use, like, Xbox One and 360 were both basically Windows Windows platforms. They're almost there.
They are Windows platforms.
Yeah, they are Windows platforms.
Like Windows NT or whatever you call it.
It's, I don't know.
I can't remember.
Yeah, so they've got that. We're already in a PC space. We're used to working in a PC space. They've already tried with like Windows 10 and like the Metro interface. They're already trying to make their mobile and their desktops like the same environment.
Yeah.
So
it's still a mess though. So
yes.
Someone's really got to come in and fix this. Another thing I want to touch on with Nintendo is like how at least cash grabby things, which I don't like.
Oh my god.
So the Nintendo Classic is clearly a cash grab for nostalgia. Like they're banking on people's nostalgia. Oh, yeah. Like, oh my god. And people I don't know if they realize it, but when they get the actual console, it's going to be the palm of their hand. Like, that's going to be the size of it.
Which is cool, though.
And then you have a huge controller that's bigger than the system. It's fine.
That's fine. Yeah, there's no because that doesn't really matter because you're not using the console for anything. It being small is actually really useful because now you can just stuff it in a corner, like by your
totally.
TV.
But then they have like the amiibos. That's something to talk about.
Yeah, really, those bug me.
That they should bug everyone because they're selling toys with. I don't know. Do you want to try and explain them?
Well, no. So they are basically just like models of characters from Nintendo properties or from games that have been released on Nintendo, not necessarily Nintendo properties. And there's just these little models, and they're totally the kind of collectible thing that like fans would be really into, where that you would have this like, oh, this is just a cool model of this character I like, but then they're also attaching, the thing I don't like is they attach functionality to them.
They make it a selling point almost.
Yeah, so it's like the worst one is the Shovel Knight one.
Yeah.
Which drives me nuts
the co-op.
Yeah, so if you get the Shovel Knight amiibo for...
Which Shovel Knight is a great game.
Yeah, it's this old school NES style side-scrolling 2D game. It's really, really great.
Yeah, very well done.
And if you get the amiibo for it, and because you can attach it to your... is there like a special platform? How the hell do you attach it?
Your 3DS. I think you have to have a 3DS.
Or just the...
Or a Wii U.
Or the Wii U, yeah, something. So, however you...
like, that's how little I care.
So, yeah, however you attach the... or however you interface the amiibos with your system, it lets you, like, oh, you have this amiibo, and then it unlocks functionality, and in the case of Shovel Knight, it unlocks co-op functionality.
Which is, like... That's a whole gameplay, like that's
a whole second thing that allows multiplayer, and like that's a really huge feature that you only get if you buy this external toy. That is, that you just have to buy this external thing, and so people that, like, if you don't care about amiibos, or if you don't want amiibos, or if you don't want to spend extra money on this freaking thing, you just don't get this chunk of the game. And co-op isn't in any other version of the game. It's only in Shovel Knight for the Wii or Wii U via an amiibo. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like,
it's absolutely ridiculous.
That's such a weird, like, content gate to put up.
Well, and not only that, but another thing they do with amiibos, and the part that I really don't like about them, is they make some of them rare.
Yes, the other thing is, like, they're rare, which is even...
What? So this is it's a known tactic. Like, you do it with collectible cards. Like, you do it with anything that's collectible.
Yeah.
This is something that you generally do, is you
manufacture rarity.
Rareness. Yeah, you manufacture rarity. Which I can't stand. I hate the idea of it.
Oh, yeah.
But it exists, and it's something that we're just going to have to deal with, and that's whatever.
Until people finally get sick of it.
And when is that going to happen, though? Because it's not happening.
I don't know.
It's been going on for so long.
Like, when somebody figures out a system... You and I actually talked about this a long time ago. We were talking about CSGO skins.
Right, Counter-Strike.
And it's, it's one of those things that I don't think is going to go away until people are presented with a different system of collecting things that doesn't manufacture rarity but still engages people the way they are engaged by rarity, like by the concept of scarcity. So
exactly,
until we come up with a better system, this is what we got, and this sucks.
Exactly. And just to touch one more thing on Nintendo's fuckery, we'll call it. They have really bad media policies. Do you want to get into that a little bit?
Oh, so yeah, I guess.
I think you know a little bit more about it than I do.
Yeah, so anybody that's been paying attention to the endless parade of, like, ridiculous shit that is happening on YouTube and how they are dealing with content and copyright and everything there. So YouTube allows people to make copyright claims on content.
Right. And
when you do that, you can, like, the people that made the claim can monetize your video and all the money will go to them. They can do all this, like, stuff that benefits them and just completely hurts the person that put up the actual creator of the video.
Right.
And in Nintendo's case, if any footage from anything Nintendo shows up in your video, they content ID you immediately and they'll monetize your video, and they're real dicks about it. Even when that footage is, like, publicly available trailers, like, if it's, like, gameplay footage that a person recorded themselves, like, it doesn't matter. They will content ID all of it. And they're just dicks about it. Like,
so you're essentially saying they're worse than other companies.
Yeah, so, like, I mean, there's actually a bunch of companies that are doing this, but Nintendo's, like, they're a really prominent one. It's very obvious when they're doing it, and they're doing it to, like, critics. Like, they're not just doing it to people that you could look at their content and be like, oh, yeah, I guess they're just making money off Nintendo.
Right.
They're doing it to critics. They're doing it to people just, like, reviewers.
Yeah.
They're doing it to people, like... And a lot of people bring up fair use as a thing.
Yeah.
And we can go into that some other time because it's kind of its own weird little topic. Yeah. But yeah, like, they're just really, like, draconian assholes about footage going up that has no negative impact on them whatsoever and really only has a positive impact, and they're being real jerks about it. And the only way to be able to put up, I don't know if they're still doing it, but I think they are, is... the only way to, like, put up footage from their games without having to worry about content ID is to sign up as, like, a Nintendo... I can't remember what the fuck it is. They have some thing that you sign up with them so you can show their games footage without them being dicks about it. But to be part of the program, it's
That's
like
cringeworthy.
they have
this.
way too much control over like what you can post, and like you're not really like a independent creator anymore if you sign up for this thing. You're really like have to dance to Nintendo's tunes. So it's this really really shitty backwards ass policy.
That's absolute nonsense.
Yeah, like at this point, I think it should be almost obvious to people or to companies that just letting people show your game and just getting it out there and having let's plays and having like whatever, like that drives people to your game. That's how people know if they wanted your thing. And like
that's obnoxious.
Yeah, it's just fucking ridiculous. Yeah. And Nintendo's totally just like going the exact opposite backwards direction, just clamping down.
Well, I feel like they've been not only going backwards, but they've been behind this whole time as well. Like, I mean, even, you know, with consoles, like, the graphics, like, they've been behind on both, like, all the way around.
Well, yes, since like, the GameCube, right?
Yeah, the GameCube came out, and it was, obviously, you had to compare it to the Xbox and PS2. Which visually
powerhouses,
Yeah, they looked a lot better than the GameCube. But the GameCube could do some stuff, and I think where it really transitioned was the Wii. The Wii came out, and
the Wii was basically just GameCube level graphics, right? Just like
They did not upgrade the graphics like at all. Maybe a little bit.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit.
As I was saying, it's a little bit, but it wasn't like the leap that the other consoles made.
Exactly.
And it's
it's not. They're behind everything they do. Just it doesn't add up. I'm really interested to see what happens with NX, what this is. Like, is this... Like, NX kind of screams like, just, like, Next, almost. Like...
Yeah, because wasn't it called... Or no, that's right, it wasn't called that. The Xbox was the one that was called that.
Yeah. So, it's... I'm really curious to see what they do with the NX. I
think everybody's curious at this point.
Yeah, I'm so negative about Nintendo all the time. And they do have some good games, like they really do. But we're at Mario Kart like 9 now. Like that's where we're at, and people are like, "No, it's totally different." It's not different. They add little different pieces of functionality in the game, and you're like, "It's a brand new game." It's not. Like you're still just racing little karts around little tracks. Like that's it.
Well, that's fine. Like that can be like that's fine if you do that, but. Like you kind of because every first-person shooter you can kind of just be like, well, you're still just running around and shooting guys, but like
the levels of creativity.
I was about to say, there's a lot of stuff on top of like that basic concept that Mario Kart kind of isn't iterating or is only making small iterations on, as opposed to like large iterations. And they're kind of now that you said that, and it made me think of something. They're kind of treating Mario Kart like sports games.
Yeah, where
it's like a yearly... Yeah, you make real tiny incremental, like, oh, we made this control slightly different.
And that would be fine if we got Mario Kart games yearly, or Zelda games yearly, or Mario Party games yearly, but we don't. We get them every 5 or 6 years. We see them once, generally, or possibly twice on a console iteration. It's not good. It's just that those are bad numbers.
Not good.
That doesn't add up. So anyways, moving along from there, let's jump into like a quick little discussion about like game protagonists. For anyone that doesn't know what a game protagonist is, that would be generally your main character in a game, or the character that you play as. What are you laughing at about, sir?
I don't know. Like, there's somebody out there that...
I just feel like... Well, now you're insulting me.
No. There's, like... Somebody out there just was like... Oh, protagonist! Like... like we said that, that's like one person was just like, holy shit, I never put it together. And like...
Anyways, so let's get into a little talk about that. For example, we have games with customizable characters, right?
Well, not just... Okay, so yeah, what about...
So how do you... No, how do you want... You can go ahead and...
I don't know where you were going to go with that.
I could go anywhere with that.
Well, no, so I was going to go with, like, specifically silent protagonists versus... Okay. It's not so much customizable, because you can customize a character, and, like Saints Row, You can customize the hell out of your character, but it's still like they still talk, they still have they still do things, they just look completely different.
Right.
Versus something like Half-Life where it's like you're Gordon Freeman who just never says anything.
Yeah, you never speak a word in the Half-Life series as Gordon Freeman, but the world is built around you to work. Like, so they talk to you. So, like, the reason for silent protagonists, in my opinion, in general, is that extra interactivity, to where it's like someone, like, you're fully immersed in the game.
Like, where the game is saying that you, the player, are you, the character in the game.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's still a character. It's still Gordon.
It's still the character, but because they don't talk, you can give them your voice in your head, or you can...
Yeah, but when you look at Half-Life specifically, the characters look directly at you. They
look directly at you.
If you walk around them, they'll turn around, like, what are you doing walking around me, you know? So, yeah, that's... I kind of got lost
I don't know.
So
that's like the... So this actually harkens back to a discussion we had in the last 2 episodes about the decline of the main character. This is kind of where we got to.
Kind of does.
It kind of does, because it's like, so on one hand you've got the silent protagonist in the form of like a Gordon Freeman, and then you've also got the like voiced protagonist, like I said, Saints Row 3, or just anything where you have a main character that talks, and you're like, okay, this is
Kratos from God of War.
Kratos, just like any main character that talks, like, you know, they're the focal point of the story. And then you have like this other kind of game where you're like, I want to bring up like Skyrim for me. Is the one
that's a good example.
That really, you don't speak, but you have dialogue choices. Like you talk to people, but they're never voiced. So it's completely like, if you want there to be sound in your head for your character speaking, you make up that sound, and you are the main character of this story. But at the same time, the world really feels like it was moving, not around you, but you were just kind of in this world, and while you did a lot of things, it really felt to me like you weren't so much the main character. Like, there was all these other... Like, it was the main character of the game, but of the world, you weren't the main character.
Well, that might have been what they were really going for. It's like, you're just this guy.
Well, it's like...
It's up to you to be the super soldier or whatever, you know?
But then, and that was the weird thing about Skyrim, is like, you are this... Like, you were kind of this generic person almost, but so many things happened... like that involved, like, so many important things happen to you. But I think like maybe just my problem with it was how just shitty the plot and story was.
I didn't really play Skyrim.
Yeah, you didn't play Skyrim, like, and I played like halfway. I put a bunch of hours into it, and I was so sick of it.
Interesting.
I hated it so much because it's like
the opposite of what probably most listeners.
Yeah, most people really loved it, and like if you're going to put, like, story in a game, it has to not suck. And it was this really shitty, like, nobody really cared about you, but everybody needed you to do things.
Yeah.
And, like...
That's a good point.
And you just did stuff, and then when you... like, it felt so bad. It was so disconnect from, like, you're supposed to be the Dragonborn, this really cool guy, and everybody's just like, hey, what's up, buddy? All right.
Right.
Go kill some rats. Like...
So, that makes perfect sense. So, I'm gonna derail it just a touch on that.
Yeah, go for it.
There's a customizable aspect that you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
So in Skyrim and a lot of games like that, you have this whole like opening piece where you spend a good amount of time customizing your character.
You can spend a good amount of time
if you want. Yeah. I don't. I do like the auto generator or whatever because I just don't care.
Right. Like Mass Effect had it.
Because I generally play in first person.
Yeah.
And when you're in first person, you're not looking at your character, like, ever. Except maybe in, like, the armor screens or whatever.
Yeah, but even because Skyrim was the same way. You're in first person the whole time, but you can customize the hell out of yourself.
Yeah, so, I mean, one point I want to make on that is, do you think people, like, what's the percentage you would guess of people that actually mimic what they look like in real life?
Yeah, so
or try to.
Like, you asked me this question when we were coming up with notes for the show, and I started thinking about it, and I was like, I don't know what percentage. Like, I really... Because there was a period of time years ago when there was customizable in the games where I would try and do, like, I was like, I'm going to make myself.
Yeah.
And I really gave up on that after about, like, 2 games trying to do that. Yeah, and, like...
Same exact thing.
And I don't, like, I know, like, I see, like, if I had to judge by, like, YouTube videos... that I see of people playing games where I can see the character that they customize, like, it looks like a lot of them don't even try to make it look like themselves.
I have to make a counterpoint on the YouTube videos. Is I feel like they also want to rush that point. Like, it's not very important to them, and they're making a video.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
they
so
just skip through it.
And that's totally, like, the flip side is...
But I know so many people that actually they actually do this. Like, they actually try and mimic themselves constantly.
So you know people... Yeah, so I would probably say 1/3 of people.
And that's a fair guess. It really is.
Because if I had to, like, generalize, I'd say, like, 1/3 try and make themselves in the game. 1/3 take, like, a generic, or, like, not generic, but, like, kind of just, like, they press the random button, or they just go with, like, in the case of Mass Effect, they just go with Shepard.
Yeah.
Like, the default.
I did,
They just go, like, that's what I did. I tried to make a character, and I was like, these all look like shit, and I just went with Shepard.
Yep.
and then I think probably another third of people just... No, I'm gonna be a cactus. Like,
there's that, or I mean, I think you also have to maybe cut it into fourths almost, because I think there is a chunk of people who they want to kind of like it's fantasy for them.
Oh, so they do like an actual role play and sit down.
Yeah,
and,
they actually make like a maybe they want their character to look punky, you know, so they actually find that mohawk hair.
Yeah, so that's...
You know what I mean? So
that's exactly the thing I had in my head was a mohawk.
Because
I'm just thinking about this.
So prevalent. I think it's just one of the oddest hairstyles that's always in all of those games.
It really is, yeah.
It's stupid. But
that's what I was going over when I said they just like make myself look like a cactus. It was like it's that last group of people is just like they make something that's interesting to them for whatever reason.
Yeah. So
they either try and make something that looks ridiculous, or they try and make something that looks like a character that they're trying to play, and whatever. Yeah.
So it's an interesting interesting thing to talk about, and we'd like to hear like what you guys think about that. Like, what do you do? Like, do you customize your characters when you play video games? Like, let us know, because we're kind of at a loss, because neither of us do it, neither of us care about it, but we know. I mean, the reason they still put these in the games is because people do care about it.
It's huge, yeah. So that was like, I remember for Borderlands, that was a huge thing. In Borderlands 1, people were like, I can't customize my armor, I can't do any of this shit, and people were like, this is bullshit. And they put it in Borderlands 2, and it's like, you never can see your character.
Nope. Generally.
Like, other people see your character. I mean, it is a co-op game, so other people see your character.
That's kind of the idea that they go for, and that's what I think what the game designers go for, is like, oh, this is how other people view you. Like,
yeah, so that, like, and that's the, especially in like a co-op or multiplayer game, it's like, how do people see me? Like, that's the kind of it's a bit of like self-expression in how you make your character look. So if you just look like this non-serious asshole running around in like a tutu and shit, and
but you're
like
destroying everything.
Yeah,
you're just like the best in the game. It's kind of funny. It's
like, what does that say about this person? They're not even taken seriously, or they don't like. It's just there's a whole like aspect of like psychological analysis, I guess you could throw at this thing, and it's, we don't know. So give us a holler. And
let us know. You have our Facebook page is officially up now. You can find us at Shut Up and Talk to Me podcast. I think I put it under. So just search it, you'll find it. And then you can always catch us on Twitter, and we'll give you our Twitter handles at the end of the show.
You're listening to this on YouTube. You can leave comments; those are enabled for the time being.
We'll keep comments open for now. So 1996, 97, I can't remember the exact year. I played this really amazing game, and it was called Metal Gear Solid.
Oh.
And it changed the way that I looked at video games for a while.
I think it changed the way a lot of people look at video games for a while.
Yeah, the narrative, the storytelling was brilliantly done. There was so much good about this game. And then the odd interactivity where you actually had to look on the back of your game case to get it.
So the fourth wall breaking stuff.
Yeah, the fourth wall stuff was really cool.
There's so many things that game.
So many things that this game just nailed.
It just did right, and stuff that in retrospect now you look at it and you're like, oh, this sucks now, but at the time it was just,
it worked.
So much of it was groundbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, one of the scenes I remember is you're chasing that ninja dude, the ninja dude that goes invisible. I can't remember
Cyborg
his name.
Ninja, Gray Fox. I mean, it's Gray Fox.
Yeah, it was Gray Fox.
They just call him the ninja. So.
They call him a ninja. Yeah, exactly. But it's one of the most horrific scenes in all the video games that I can remember is when you start walking through the hallways and there's just dead bodies everywhere.
Corpses and blood and shit everywhere.
And they're all, like, cut differently, and it's just like... And Snake comments on it, too. He says something really silly, like, looks like these were cut with a blade or something. Like, it's just really bad.
Yeah, it's totally that, like...
And you're like, really? But then you go through, and then you hit a corner... And you can't see the ninja because he has like a cloak thing, and you just see a body hanging in the air. Like
because he's impaled him on his sword.
Yeah, he's impaled him on a sword, and you're just like,
yeah.
This game is amazing. There's that scene, and then there's the Mantis fight. What's his name?
Oh, Psycho Mantis?
Psycho Mantis was one of the funnest, interesting fights in a video game.
Again, the fourth wall stuff was so perfect in that one, where he read your memory card. And there was a handful of games, and he was like, "Oh, you like to play police knots," and he would he would comment on stuff on your memory card.
And then you would have you found out that the only way you could damage him was that you had to pull your controller out of slot 1 and put it in slot 2.
Yeah, you had to plug your controller in a different
and
port.
It somehow tricked him because he was like this, he used like psychic abilities or whatever.
So he's like, I can't read your mind anymore.
Exactly, yeah. So it was just really fun fourth wall breaking. Anyways. I'm really just using it as a springboard because you are you're doing it. You're playing Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah, so I'm like super late to the party, but
I gotta admit, like I kind of gave up on Metal Gear Solid when 2 came out. It didn't work for me. For a lot of people it worked. For a lot of people it didn't.
Yeah, so the thing with... So we'll just talk about some more Metal Gear Solid history. For me personally, what happened with Metal Gear Solid 2 is, and you were there, so nobody liked the main character at all. Everybody hated Raiden. He was just awful. Yeah. And the story was started to get really convoluted and ridiculous. It
was out of control.
It went up, which I actually enjoyed, but the second game kind of just went in a bunch of weird directions, which is cool from he's a creator and he's trying to do something cool standpoint, but from the player's perspective, it just sucked. And the things that they did right with that game though was the gameplay really, really worked well. The AI was really good at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So mechanically it was really sound, but it was all the stuff on top of the mechanics that was just kind of going all these different directions.
My issue is for this game that is built so much on story and so well done with the story in the first one, and which there was Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2, the originals back,
just Metal Gear. They weren't even Metal Gear Solid. Just
Metal Gear, yeah.
Which barely had story.
Barely had story, but they were still pretty good games, actually.
Mechanically... very sound.
Mechanically super sound. So this one, the story, that's why I didn't like it.
No, yeah, because everything was just, the story was going on, the main character sucked, Snake was barely in it, a bunch of stuff was just nonsense. What the fuck is all this crazy shit?
And then 3 came out.
Yeah, and 3 came out, did you play 3?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I played Snake.
And, you just didn't like it, or?
No, I did like it. I just... Okay, so...
They just burned all your goodwill on
Not
2?
really. No,
okay.
Not really. So, by the time... I was very skeptical of the game, but I had heard so much good stuff about it. I was like, I'm gonna like this.
Yeah. And
I did like it. My issue with it was, by the year that it finally freaking came out, which I don't remember what year it was.
Yeah, it was...
Early 2000s, mid-2000s, almost mid-2000s. Because it was right before the 360 and those came out.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So my issue was they didn't update the control scheme.
Yeah, so they totally screwed themselves on the original release.
Yeah,
because they were still using the fixed third person and the weird.
It's so wonky. But when you play it on PlayStation 1, that's fine because that was a control scheme that was acceptable at that time.
Well, PlayStation 1.
We had evolved.
And then Metal Gear Solid 2, which was a real early PlayStation 2 release, when we still hadn't completely embraced the... No, we still kind of did. We were getting there with the dual stick controls that everybody uses now for everything.
Right.
But then, Metal Gear Solid 3, dude, those controls were, I absolutely agree with you. It was awful.
They were so bad, it almost hindered me from playing the game
almost
at all.
A deal breaker, yeah.
Because, it got to the point where, I was just running around. I'm like, where am I getting shot from? I couldn't figure it out because my brain had been shaped differently by gaming that had evolved. into like third person where it's like I control the camera with one thumb and my guy's on the other thumb.
Yeah.
And I can do whatever I want.
So
like
you can look around. Simple. It's a great way to move through the 3D world and actually be able to look at and interact with things.
Exactly. And this is where you're fixed and you're just like kind of in this isometric view and it doesn't work.
Yeah, it was especially because like the levels had gotten so much bigger. Like there was a lot of like outdoor levels with like long distance, long range stuff, and like you have this weird camera that you only see about 10 feet in either direction around you.
Right. So and, like, it really kills the immersion. It really hindered it. But with that said, it's one of the best games on the PS2. It's definitely in the top 10,
and it's considered by most people to be probably the best Metal Solid game.
Which I would disagree. I mean, and it's mainly because of the impact the first one had on me.
Yeah.
Compared to this one, didn't really have an impact. It was just a great game.
It's like okay, it's a solid game. Like if you of the entire series, it's a pretty solid.
Yeah,
if not the most solid.
The story's not like it's ridiculous, but it's not like it's really, I don't understand this at all.
Yeah, you can follow it, and the ridiculousness actually makes it fun. Yeah, it makes it more believable, which is a thing that. Not necessarily believable in like our world, but it makes that world more believable.
Right.
Because that's a whole thing, which I'll derail with in a second. But like, everything about it is just phenomenal. It's just that the original release's controls blew.
And then there was awful. Like a collector's edition.
Well, so they released Subsistence.
That's what it was.
Subsistence, yeah, and that actually had they updated the controls to modern. Dual stick controls, and it's way.
And then it really works.
Yeah, it really, really works. It's fantastic. If you play the HD collection for Xbox 360 or for PS3 and Xbox 360, it has that version. So
of course it does. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way you couldn't go back to the other one.
No.
Like, and it's just a great game. It just had shitty controls when it came out, and then when they put in the new controls, it's fantastic.
It was an even better game. And then PS2. Is this still PS2?
Yeah, so Metal Gear Solid 3 was... 4 came out? Metal Gear Solid 4 was PS4. PS3. The other PS3.
So, Metal Gear Solid 4. I didn't play it.
Yeah, neither did I.
But I went to my buddy Logan's house.
Okay.
And he was playing it. He had just started it, as a matter of fact. And
like, from the beginning? You got to watch the opening cutscene?
So, this is where we kind of, like, where I basically left his house, because... The opening cutscene is like 45 minutes long.
It is long.
It's ridiculous.
And
like
nothing happens in it.
It's so boring, and I'm like, I'd go to talk to him, he'd be like, hey, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like nothing is happening. You're watching this boring cutscene. Like, can you skip it? And he's like, yeah, I think, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, I want to know what's going on. I want to know the set. Like that's what everybody. You want to know the setup. What's
happening?
And
then apparently there's just story chunks like this throughout the game.
Oh, yeah.
That are massive. That's just like half an hour here, 20 minutes here.
So for the people that don't know about Metal Gear Solid, one of the things that it's, like, remembered for, like, a lot of people know about it is the cutscenes that they started putting in. They get really long. Like, the first game, it's not that bad until, like, the second half, and you get a couple, like, 20 minute...
not that bad.
They're like, there's, like, a couple... There was, like, 2 20-minute ones.
Yeah, maybe. Close,
but
yeah.
that's because I just played it recently.
Okay.
And there was a couple... There was, like, 2 20-minute ones, and I think there was a handful of, like, 10 to 15.
But they were super immersive, and you were really into the story.
They worked really well, and they were just long enough to not be too long.
Right.
But then in Metal Gear Solid 2, like, they ramped it up. There's a bunch of cutscenes that are really freaking long. There's a ton of, like, 10, 20-minute ones. Near the end of the game, like, I think the last cutscene's, like, half hour. There's a cutscene before that that's, like, 40 minutes. There's a ton of really long ones. The third game also had this, where it was getting into those half-hour-plus cutscenes constantly.
Yeah, but it worked in the third one.
It worked so well in the third one because of
it's just
how
like,
great...
For me, like, I feel like if the gameplay works, like, if it's a good game at heart, like, I don't mind the cutscenes. And it also has to be something that I follow, too. So that's a good point, like, on that note. Is, like, Metal Gear Solid 2 was a shitstorm of randomness.
Yeah, there were so many just things going in. So
they're like, new character here. Look at this guy. Look what this asshole's doing now. Look what Ocelot's doing now.
Really convoluted story.
I don't care. I don't get this. And then 3 was like, okay, you kind of you reeled it back in a little bit.
Yeah.
This makes more sense. Okay, this is fun.
You could follow it. The characters are
4
fun.
comes around. Neither of us played it, so we can't comment too much on it, but I'm sure we watched.
I watched I've watched a no commentary playthrough of it, and I watched a let's play of it. So I've seen a shitload of Metal Gear Solid 4. I've seen it. I just haven't played it.
So okay. So moving on from Metal Gear Solid 4, you are playing Metal Gear Solid 5, which is the most recent one. It came out
last year.
About
a year ago.
Yeah.
And so Metal Gear Solid 5 came out a year ago. It was in development for like 5 or 6 years. They built a whole new game engine for it. Like, they did all this stuff. Like, they got real actors to do like the motion capture and the voice acting, and like it was this whole.
What's his name from 24 was in it, right?
Kiefer Sutherland plays Snake, which is not great. And then
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get into a handful of things with Metal Gear Solid. With Metal Gear Solid 5. It and when it came out last year, I think it won a bunch of like Game of the Year awards.
Totally did. Yeah, it did great.
Mechanically, the game is fantastic. Like every other Metal Gear game. Yeah, like the mechanics work, and they work really, really well. So it's in the previous games, there were like small levels or small-ish levels that you went to. In this game, it's open world.
Yeah.
So you just have this big-ass map, and you run around, there's like little towns and stuff, and it works. It works really, really well, just like this feeling of like, oh, I'm out in this place, and you have to like sneak, and there's like this really great like gameplay loop of like you go to a place and you have to sneak, and then there's like action, and you get away, and then you kind of like get to be in like a calm space. Like it works. Like the ebb and flow of the game is fantastic. The gameplay is fantastic. The weapon play feels good. The sneaking feels good. Just the movement feels good. Everything feels good mechanically.
Right.
There's a whole like mother base system that you have a home base.
Okay.
That was introduced in Peace Walker, which was which I ended up really, really enjoying. Was Peace Walker, the PSP game.
That was the PSP. Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Yeah.
And I'll get into some more about that in a second. But so all these mechanical things work, and then it has the same problem that Metal Gear Solid 2 had, where all the shit that's on top of the mechanics kind of sucks a lot.
Okay.
And so, like the thing that like worked in all the other Metal Gear games was like, or to some extent, was the story. It was like even if it didn't work, it was like this. You had this big sprawling story with all these crazy characters, and all this goofy shit would happen, and you get like some fourth wall breaking, and you get comedy, and you get sadness, and you get drama, and you get the whole range of human emotion, and just all this crazy stuff that can only happen in games with like Psycho Mantis reading your controller, like all this cool stuff, and that made those worlds feel really, really great. Like. That's what I said like earlier, when it makes those worlds feel believable just within their own context, is because they're so well rounded.
Exactly.
Like if it was all just a bunch of grimdark shit, you'd just be like, this is just dumb grimdark shit. Like this isn't fun or engaging.
Dark Souls.
Yeah. Like
anyway.
Yeah. But then, so like this like Metal Gear Solid 5, the story sucks in this game.
Really?
The characters all suck. The story sucks. Everybody, it's like just a bunch of people being sad and angry the whole fucking time. There's barely any jokes. Like and when there are, like the humor's just terrible. Like they suck. The characters suck. Like so Katsuhiro Miller, who was Master Miller in the first game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so who was just...
I'm like, what? Who?
Yeah, so he was just some random support character in the first game. And then in Peace Walker and Metal Gear Solid 5, he's like an integral piece of the story. He knows Big Boss. He's like his second in command. In Peace Walker, he was just kind of this upbeat, goofy asshole.
Right.
In this game, he's just a downer. He's just pissed off and angry and sad the whole time. He sucks. Like... Kiefer sucks as Snake. He's just like this really just boring delivery of just almost like he sucks. Everything about the stories and characters just sucks in this game.
Okay.
So it's just terrible. Like, and the worst part about it is there's glimpses. Like here and there, you'll be like, oh, this might actually get good, and then it just doesn't. Like the main antagonist for most of the game barely shows up. You have no idea who he is or what he's doing. You barely get to interact with him. You're like, who the fuck is this guy? And then I got to a mission where all this weird shit happens with him. Like, you've been trying to kill him for fucking like 30 hours, and then all of a sudden he's just like, hey, let's go for a car ride. And I was like, what? And you just get in a car with this guy and drive around while he talks to you. And I was like, yeah, it's fucking insane. And you're like, this is ridiculous, and it's totally awesome. I was like, oh my god, this guy actually has depth, and he's like a character, and he's got some shit going on. And then he dies right after that. So,
oh, that's great.
Yeah, it was fucking nonsense. Like, I just got to a point where this guy was interesting, and then he just fucking, that was it. I never get to see him again. And the whole, like, yeah, so all of that, it just sucks. Like, the story is just terrible.
Kojima's doing the same shit.
Yeah, the story is just bad. Like,
so he's got a good world going on. The gameplay's great.
Yeah, the mechanics are fucking fantastic.
But the story, everything that we've come to know and love about Metal Gear,
yeah, and like there's
garbage.
Like there's way less cutscenes, and all the cutscenes take place. Like, so you have Mother Base, your base of operations. Like, half the cutscenes take place on the frickin' helipad at Mother Base. Like, you just land your helicopter, and, like, you get out, and then people just, like, have conversations for, like, 20 fucking minutes. You're just sitting on the deck, and I'm like, I don't... Go somewhere interesting! Like...
That's so bad.
Yeah, it's rough. The story is just terrible. Like, and that whole part of the game just sucks. And then there's, like... And then the Mother Base stuff, which was introduced in Peace Walker... So two things got introduced in Peace Walker, which were fantastic.
Right.
The base of operations, which is which they call Mother Base, which is cool. It's so you have this power, I guess, where you can Fulton balloon people, which is so when you're out in the world and there's like enemy soldiers, if you incapacitate them, you can attach a balloon to them and it pulls them up in the air, and then and it's an actual thing that existed. Like, they came up in the 60s for like the CIA. So this balloon picks you up in the air.
Oh,
yeah.
And then an airplane comes
by and picks you up. It's like they did it in the Dark Knight.
Batman.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like Snake can do this to people on a scale that's completely fucking nonsensical. You can like he goes out with like 50 fucking balloons, and you can just like it's like you Pokemon all these freaking dudes up into the air, which is it's pretty fun, and it actually gives you like a reason to care about the soldiers. So now instead of just like, oh, you know, there's these people who break all their necks and just whatever, now you can just like, you go out and you're like, oh, that guy's like, he's a really useful soldier. He's got a really high rank, and I want him to be like a person at my base. So now you have to like go out of your way to like get this guy and try not to kill him and like incapacitate him and shoot him. So it actually ends up being really fun. It's like a really functional, again, it's like a mechanic that just works really well.
Right.
And it worked really, really well in Peace Walker, because your base only had like 400 people or something, and there was only like 6 ranks of soldier, and at a certain point you just figured out like, oh, this is where all the S rank guys are, and you could just and it wasn't that big of a deal. Metal Gear Solid 5, there's like 10 ranks for soldiers. It takes forever to get the good ones to even show up. You need like 700 fucking people on your base, and it ends up being grindy as fuck.
It sounds, yeah.
It's like as a base concept, it's really great. If you only ever had to like collect a total of 700 people over the course of the game, it'd be awesome. You'd be like, oh yeah, it's this thing that I do every now and then, and it gives me a reason to do stuff, and it's great. But in this game, dude, you have to. I'm gonna probably
focus on it.
I have to. I'm probably gonna end up going through like 10,000 freaking people, and it's just I'm just like, I'm sick of fucking Fultoning all these people.
That sounds really obnoxious, actually.
It's like it's so close to being good. It's just too much. It's too much. Like, there's too many ranks. Like it's just too grindy at this point. Like, I've been doing it, and you have to get these better soldiers. Because that's Mother Base is how you make new weapons and equipment and shit.
So, okay. So, I'm kind of... You're losing me because
I'm just
so ridiculous.
It's a really big game.
It sounds like they kind of trying to do a little too much for what they... And they're just... They just did some things wrong.
I'm going to get to, like, the end point is the game's about a year... It needed a year more development.
Okay.
Like, if I had to say anything about the game... If it hadn't been released yet, I'd say it has a lot of potential, but it's been released and they're not going to work on it anymore. It's not done.
Okay, if you had to give it a score out of 10 so far.
So, like, out of 10, I don't know what I'd give it. Like, I think...
Anything?
I'd probably say 7 to 8.
Okay.
On an actual scale where... Yeah. Not a... popular scale where it's like, oh, if you're getting anything less than a 7, your game's shit. Like, no, like an actual like a 50% game, like a 50-50 game would be decent.
Right.
Like, I'd give it a 7.5-ish.
Okay.
Because mechanically fantastic, but like there's all this stuff that ends up getting piled on top that is just shit.
Garbage.
Yeah, or like just doesn't work in the long term.
I'm kind of not too surprised. I was hoping you would tell me something I'd like a little bit more about the game. Like, it's fucking fantastic all the way through.
Yeah, seriously.
But it's not.
It's just one of the most aggravating things about it is how good it can be. And like even like the bad things, like I am kind of like exaggerating a little bit on how bad the things are. Like the story is like mediocre. Like in any other game, you'd just be like, oh, okay, whatever. This story just is. Like you wouldn't be like, oh, this is a terrible story. But in Metal Gear Solid, like the mechanics are so fucking good.
It's Metal Gear.
Yeah, like because because it's Metal Gear and like the mechanics are so good and some parts of the game are so good that it just makes the story feel so awful that you're just like, Jesus, this is so shit compared to how good this game can be.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah.
Moving on from Metal Gear, we were gonna talk about MOBAs this week. I think we're gonna skip that until next week.
Yeah, we totally went Metal Gear nuts for a little while there.
Yeah, we went a little haywire on some stuff, but that's fine. Like we really got into like some of the in-depth details of gaming and what's happening in the gaming world. Yeah, and that's what I want to talk about on this podcast, which is great. So for all you piracy maniacs out there.
Yeah, to switch gears completely.
Yeah, we're gonna really switch gears ish. For all you piracy fans,
fans or detractors or anybody that pays attention at all.
Yeah, for all you delinquents, including myself. The owner of Kick-Ass Torrents, which is now, I mean, it effectively was the best.
It was the largest site.
It was not only the largest, but it worked the best in my opinion. Like, no, yeah, that's why I always went back to it.
Yeah, it was just really functional.
Great. And we all like affectionately had like a nickname for it. Like, we all call it Cat.
Yeah, well, that's like, the acronym works.
Yeah, it just does. He got arrested.
Yeah, the owner got arrested.
His name is Artem Valin, or Artem Valin. I don't know exactly where he's from, but he's 30 years old. It was
Sweden? It was some like Nordic country.
Well, yeah, that's where all of like where I feel like all the torrents are hosted, or in like those like
Finland or Sweden or Norway or something.
Western Germany or the Western European
Eastern Bloc.
Eastern, yeah. Sorry, I don't know where I am.
Whatever direction.
We're in Denver, right?
It's all west at some point, right? Like you just go that way, you're gonna
exactly. Fuck it. He got arrested by being an idiot. By really screwing up.
By doing things at this point no one that runs a torrent site should ever even think about doing.
No one that knows anything about the internet would do this. If they were partaking in this type of thing. Yeah. So what did he do? He started a Facebook group for Kick-Ass Torrents, right?
He had a fan page.
But he used, and this is the best part, he used his actual like identification, like
personal email.
His personal email. Like, how stupid can you get? Like, cops they talk about how like police,
all the time. Yeah,
police are always after these guys. Like, it happened with the Pirate Bay. Like,
yeah, like.
It was big. It was a big freaking story. And now look at what you just ruined this amazing site for everyone because you're dumb. Like you made like just such a stupid error.
It's such a like fundamental mistake to make.
Right.
At this point in time, especially when you're in that realm of thought, like why would you use your personal email for a Facebook page that law enforcement talks about this all the time. They go to Facebook or Twitter, or back when MySpace existed, or they go to social media sites.
They use social media.
And like if they subpoena your account, they get everything about your account. They know what IP you came from. They know your email.
Especially Facebook.
Yeah, and so this guy, he was using his personal email at Facebook, and he had a .me account, which is an Apple account.
Apple, yeah.
Yeah, so then they found that out, and then they subpoenaed Apple, and they were just like, well, here you go. And so they had everything about this guy in minutes, and then
then they just arrested him, and that's it. It's over. They still make a big deal. You still hear things about piracy. even on Facebook, there's little, like in the little ads section, I'll see like no piracy in there, like all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you know anyone, like report them, and it's like, fuck you, like,
that's
you serious? Like,
that's some paranoid shit. Like,
yeah, like
keep an eye on your neighbors.
Like it's just so bad. But this is one of the dumbest things I've heard, and he effectively ruined our favorite torrent site. If you're a torrenter,
yeah, he did that.
It's bad. This is such a bad thing for anyone that is really into the internet and really like focuses like their lives on it. Like, this is how I consume my media, is specifically through kick-ass torrents. Well, that's gone, and now you have like a collection of garbage websites to kind of dig through and maybe hopefully find some
secondary, like a bunch of second stringers that are
and
hopefully somebody can step up. Yeah.
Someone's gonna step up, and it's just gonna be like, you know, they have to do a because with kick-ass torrents you could sign up if you wanted to, and like be a member, so you could like comment on the stuff and like give it like reviews basically. But you didn't have to. I never did.
No, I think
the way that I gave back to the community was that I seeded. That's how I gave back. Like, so I didn't need to go in there and comment. But a lot of these sites that are supposedly good require you to get a membership, and then they have
exclusive.
And then there's like, they're like, well, we don't have any. We're not accepting new members right now, and it's like, really? Like, you don't want your website to be more popular?
That's literally how these things work. Is you need community. You have to have people.
So I remember there was a couple. I can't remember the names of them. Like, one had the name Pig in it, I think. But it's just. Oh, we're gonna be lost for a little bit, folks. So just hold on tight, and we'll get back. And. Did you have anything else on that?
No, I mean, it was crazy that he got picked up the way that he did. Like, I don't get how you even make that, like, for anybody out there that's listening and wants to host a torrent site, get an anonymous email, access shit through a proxy.
Proxies, VPNs.
Yeah, like, do the 2 basic steps that don't fucking lead directly to you. Like, just FYI.
It's such a, fundamental mistake is, like, the best way to put it.
And it's so weird, like, that people still make that mistake, or that would make, like, you never think about, like, why would, we don't, it's something I've heard a lot of, like, law enforcement people say, is they don't catch the smart ones.
Right.
And like,
and you have family
I
in
have
law
experience
enforcement,
with law enforcement,
so
and they and that's just the thing that I've heard from people, and like, and it just constantly kind of rings true after a while. It's just like, this guy was just like, hey, I'm the owner, and like and then he got caught,
and now I'm in jail.
Yeah, and then like the people that don't ever say who they, like, you can't figure out who they are, those sites last forever, so like, so it's just, I don't know.
It's a mess. Anyways, moving along from that, I guess we'll kind of jump in the film for a little bit to end this up. Or finish this up, sorry.
Depending on which thing, it might be a long finisher.
We're going to go with both. So I'm going to quickly touch on one thing.
Okay.
Trainspotting 2 was announced. And this is laughable for some people because they're like, what? You don't need a Trainspotting 2.
Yeah, like...
So, the cool thing about it is that it's the same cast, same director, Danny Boyle, which is great news, right? Ian McGregor, all the guys are going to be back.
The heroin gang is back together.
The heroin gang is back together. But apparently, and this is something I don't know too much about, this is why we're lightly going to touch on it, just the fact that I kind of wanted just to say that it's coming out, like, this is cool. So, apparently the writer for Trainspotting, he had another book called Porno, and that's what this is going to actually be based off of. And obviously I don't think they could just use that title for a film. Like, I mean, they could, but I just don't think it would be socially accepted very well. And I also think they're obviously using the Trainspotting kind of theme. So it's going to be this story of porno with Trainspotting. Yeah. So it's all
Trainspotting characters.
It's all
is it the same
together.
Characters? I mean,
it probably is. Okay. I haven't read the book. I don't know.
Is it? Yeah. So I'm wondering if it's like the same continuity. Is it? I mean, is it really a sequel, or is it? Just using the name.
I think they're just using the name kind of because it is kind of jokey because it's called T2, kind of like Terminator.
Yeah,
it's called T2 Trainspotting 2, which is fantastic, and I hope they just stick with that and really run with it because it's hilarious. Yeah. Another thing we want to touch on because Comic-Con just happened, the big Comic-Con in San Diego.
San Diego Comic-Con, yeah.
That just happened, and we'll touch more on this I think next week with a lot of stuff. But there is a couple of things to talk about in the DC film universe.
There's plenty of things to talk about in the DC
film
universe.
And we can kind of touch on this in a couple of ways. But I'll just start it up with, we saw a trailer for Justice League, the movie.
You saw, apparently I didn't.
You didn't see the trailer for that?
Yeah.
I didn't link it to you or anything?
I don't think so, yeah.
Where have you been? So actually, I thought the trailer was really good.
Well, it's a trailer. It's supposed to be
okay.
Really good.
You have this theory, yeah, that's right. So we'll talk more about that. But so the way they introduce the characters, though, it works. Aquaman doesn't look useless. They're actually using that super ripped dude from Game of Thrones. You didn't watch Game of Thrones?
Yes, I've seen one episode.
Useless,
yeah.
Dan.
I know, right? Is it the Drago, that guy?
Yeah, Khal Drogo.
Good. Yeah, I just know who he is because he's the internet.
Yeah,
so.
Khal Drogo. Anyways, so yeah, that's Aquaman.
He's Aquaman, okay.
Which is a really great idea. They kind of went back in the comics a bit and really pulled from the good Aquaman stuff, not to like, this character just talks to fish.
Yeah.
Even though, I gotta say, in the trailer, Bruce Wayne, Ben Affleck's character, does like kind of make a joke towards Aquaman, like,
so you just talk to fish.
So you just talk to fish, yeah. Which is, I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
A lot of people are pissed because The Flash is not the same actor from the TV show that's wildly popular right now.
Okay.
It's this new kid. It's a younger actor.
So is it supposed to be same continuity? Is Flash TV
I can't touch on that because I just don't know enough about the DC universe.
Okay.
I'm going to say no.
Yeah, it sounds like if you're going to do that,
yeah, they
would
really
just say
have
no,
to
because
go.
if you're going to build a giant continuity and it's all going to be the same, you have to follow the Marvel template. Which is you just have to use the same actors, yeah.
So they're not doing that. And I believe he's supposed to be a 15-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the kid, I can't remember his name, but he's a great little actor. He knows what he's doing. And he looks pretty good. Like, it works. The character's Cyborg. I don't know the actor at all.
Okay.
But once they show him in, like, the Cyborg kind of, like, I don't want to call it a costume, but it kind of
when he is a cyborg, because he is a cyborg,
yeah.
He's got the most on-the-nose fucking name.
Right. That's one of my issues with DC in a lot of ways, like Batman. And then, anyways. He looks great. So it looks like they're going to do great with him. We have already seen Wonder Woman.
People loved her.
Yeah, she's just that's a great character, really good. It's something that's going to work, I think. And Bruce Wayne they show as well. They do not show Superman.
So isn't he, like, I think this is a spoiler, did you see Batman v Superman?
Yes.
Right, yeah, doesn't he die?
Well,
or something? I haven't seen it, so I don't know, yeah.
I really don't want to spoil it for people because it just came out on DVD and Blu-ray, and they're all about to see it.
I kind of don't care, so...
Yeah, I do. So, anyways, here's the thing, though, is that not only is Henry Cavill, like, in the IMDb cast list.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to make.
And he's like number 1 or 2. He's like near the top.
Yeah.
But the way that I saw the trailer was that Henry Cavill shared it on Facebook.
Okay.
So that kind of leads you to be like, yeah, Superman's going to be in the movie. I have this feeling that he's going to be like a cameo-ish character.
Okay.
So he's probably only going to be in like 20 minutes of the movie. Because it looks like a good chunk of the film is going to be based on Batman or Bruce Wayne, getting the crew together.
Okay.
Essentially to fight whoever they're going to fight. They don't really touch on that
at all.
I
saw something and they said like it's just they alluded to it being a greater villain than like what it was in something else, and I was like,
sure,
what the fuck? Okay,
yeah, sure,
yeah,
cool.
right, yeah, why? Yeah, I mean, I guess you're putting a team together.
I mean, here's the issue. Zack Snyder is still directing this fucking
He's
thing.
Still fucking directing.
He ruined Batman versus Superman. It was so bad.
And Man of Steel. They're both.
And Man of Steel, yeah.
He's fucking...
But they're so bad. And the one saving grace for me when I watched Batman vs. Superman was Batman. Like,
okay. I heard people actually were like, he's
killed
good at
it.
Yeah,
he killed it. He's a great Batman. He's better than Christian Bale.
Wow, all right.
He really is. He's the best Batman thus far. He just hasn't been injected into anything we fucking care about. Batman vs. Superman was terrible.
Yeah, right.
And I know there's some hardcore fans. That's fine. You're allowed to be hardcore about anything. But bad is bad. And but the rest of us
don't like it.
Yeah, this is bad.
Yeah.
Here's the saving grace, maybe, moment to it, is that Ben Affleck is an executive producer on it. And typically executive producer just means that people throw money at things because they want them to exist. But a lot of times executive producers really have a say in what happens, how the casting works, how the plot develops, how it's directed even.
They may not be the voice, but they've definitely got influence.
Right, and I know a lot of people still shit on Ben Affleck for like no reason. Like
no, ever since Argo, he's actually been good.
Since before Argo, since The Town. I mean, I thought The Town was...
I thought Argo was before The Town.
No?
Oh,
The Town was before Argo.
Okay, good.
The Town was a fantastic film.
Then, yeah,
it really worked. It wasn't amazing, but it was really good. It really worked. Ben Affleck killed the directing. He killed the acting in it. And then Argo came out. Killed the directing, killed the act. He nailed it. He nailed it 2 times in a row. Okay, so he doesn't get to be the director of Justice League.
That's fine.
Hopefully he will have enough voice in it to be like, hey, Zack, you suck. Like, stop doing this.
Yeah, we gotta.
There's too much action. Like, reel it back. Like that's what it seems like. Because in the at least the Comic-Con trailer that we see, there's really no action at all.
Which, I mean, there's gonna be. Like, it's a comic book movie. Yeah, but it's like, yeah, I don't like. It's not just that there's like action. I don't think it's not just that Zack Snyder focuses on action. It's that he's just tonally has no fucking idea how to build this universe.
So the tone of his films are very awkward and odd, like, and they just don't work most of the time.
Yeah, because
it really worked. This is why we know him as from 300.
Yeah, which is the only place it ever worked.
It's the only time it ever worked, and it didn't work in the sequel. The sequel was garbage. I'm not sure if he even directed that fucking thing, but it was terrible. Don't watch the sequel to 300.
I heard the only thing good about it was Eva Green, however you pronounce her name.
Eva Green.
The lady from James Bond.
Yeah, she was alright. Whatever.
Yeah, it's like I heard she was okay, but the rest of it was just...
It was... Anyway, Zack Snyder, like, he's kind of our new, like... We need a new whipping boy because Michael Bay just isn't around much anymore. And Michael Bay, by the way, put out a film called 13 Hours, which was the Benghazi story.
Okay, yeah.
And it was fucking fantastic.
Okay.
So he came back in my head, and I had no idea he directed it until the movie was over.
And we're like, what?
It wasn't like...
It wasn't the constant fireball.
Yeah, there wasn't extra explosions all the time. He reeled it in. He made a great movie. Okay? And I think a lot of people don't know about that movie, by the way. 13 Hours, it's called...
I remember it showed up and that I saw the thing and it said it was from Michael Bay, and I immediately was just like,
you dismissed it.
I was like, I don't know about this.
It works. Okay. Fantastic. John Krasinski is in it. He's great. It's a great movie.
So it's actually like I took a media film studies class or something a bazillion years ago, and Michael Bay got brought up when this was back toward like when Armageddon was still new. And I just remembered, like, the teacher was like, yeah, Michael Bay is really good at, like, beautiful shots. Like, if you look at his movies, he has a lot of really beautiful shots. He can do really...
Epic, wide open
Yeah, like,
shots,
he can actually do good filmmaking. He just gets bogged down in, like, he puts in way too many shots way too quickly, or he puts in, like, just fireballs.
And this is where we can go right back to Zack Snyder, where...
Yeah.
Zack Snyder, Batman, one of the biggest issues with Batman vs. Superman was his transitioning... with shots. It's awful. It's so quick, and it's like boom, 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 boom. Like it just keeps going, and it's like whoa, like calm down. I have no idea what's happening right now, and why is Superman killing so many people? Like, and that's just a little thing I noticed. Like, I'm like, you think about comic book characters, and you think about Batman specifically, where he's like anti-murder, basically.
Yeah, that's the whole thing about most superheroes is they don't kill people.
Well, in Superman versus Batman, they're both extremely reckless.
Yeah,
they're just buildings are falling on top of each other, and just the civilian body count is just going up, and like it's kind of something you have to think about internally a little bit. It's not all over the film, but they show it.
Yeah, they don't emphasize. They're not like, hey, look, they're killing people.
Yeah, like it's
but if you think about it, you're like, wait a minute.
Exactly. So it just Zack. We have hope for Justice League like we have hope for all movies in the beginning.
You have hope.
I have. I do have hope for this one. I really do.
I'd like for them to succeed. I mean, it's cool to see characters. I mean, yeah, like I have hope in the sense that I wish every movie was just great. That'd be great.
That's really freeballing it out there. Yeah, but yeah, I understand that. Ben Affleck he gets to be the director of the next Batman film.
So that gives him even more, like he can build shit in that direction.
Exactly.
Which gives him more influence over how...
This gives me hope for the new Batman to be just fucking epic. Like, I really hope he nails it. And, like, we have something that can compete with The Dark Knight, which, out of the series, like, Batman Begins was good.
It was okay. Yeah, everybody...
It was a good, like, intro to character type of movie.
Yeah, it was definitely... It was
The
good,
Dark Knight slaughtered expectations. Like, obviously, Heath Ledger was a big part of that. But no one really hit a stride with storytelling in that film.
Like, that movie worked because he did... because he did Batman Begins. Because he set the groundwork. He built the rules. Like, we talked about this, episode 1, I think? Where we talked about him structuring things. Yeah. And
we did talk about Nolan, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, he set the groundwork, he built a structure for that universe, and because he did the first movie where he did that, and he was like, okay, this is kind of the limits that people have, and this sort of thing, like, the second movie could just go, and he went nuts with it, and it was like, instead of having, like, the last few minutes of a movie pay off, he just had a whole fucking movie that would just pay off, where it was like, oh, I built this world, and now I get to play in it, and it was so great.
Exactly, and it worked very well, and then The Dark Knight Rises, it worked. It wasn't...
It was too convoluted.
It was very convoluted.
He dug went too far.
It worked for me.
I like a lot of stuff in it. It just... It worked. It worked, I think, is okay the way to put it.
It's a movie that's watchable, and it's kind of... You need to watch it more than once for sure.
That's gotta be the worst thing if you're a director. Like, oh, your movie's watchable.
That's terrible. Well, that's what I would say to Zack Snyder. Like,
that's the best I could give him.
It's bearable. That's what he gets.
I didn't turn it off immediately.
Yeah, I gave it 20 minutes of my life, but that's about it. And you ruined those. You owe me, by the way.
You're right. You're like, I need. I was like a $10 ticket. I could use like $7.50 back. Like,
Works perfect. That's perfect. I'm trying to think of other like huge announcements that we're gonna kind of do much more in Comic-Con next time. I think.
Maybe. God knows.
We'll see what happens. We always come up with like topics randomly and like at the last minute, and it kind of
Or we start with a topic and it becomes 9 topics.
Yeah, we really freeball this and kind of we've gone over the time that we wish to go over. So it's what it is. I'm excited to see what DC can try and do. Because they really have to battle Marvel now. Marvel is killing it.
Well, it's so, like I said with the tone thing, like I think that is just what is fucking them so far, is just, they've tried to build all these movies based on like that like late 90s, early 2000s kind of comic books.
Okay, so hold on, let me stop you for a second and go, since you mentioned tone.
Okay.
We've seen a million things about Suicide Squad. What do you think they're doing tonally with that film? It really feels like they're really reaching for like the millennial grab almost.
Well, yeah, so...
Or almost steampunky, like kind of neon-y, kind of, you know what I mean?
Almost punkish, but not punk.
Right.
Because it's definitely not punk at all, but like, not like, I don't want to, like, not anti-establishment, but what would be, like against the norm, or like they're trying to do something.
I mean, that's essentially what it's based off.
Yeah,
of.
I mean, it's supposed to be these kind of like.
It's all like it's these terrible people,
like absolute anti-heroes, like
pure
definition anti-heroes.
Yeah, And you're kind of supposed to cheer for him in this movie a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that they're going for. And it's like, I think, so, I don't know if we mentioned this, but there was a shitload of reshoots they did on it.
Yeah, they had to, like, take the summer, and that's what they're doing.
A ton of reshoots. And it's like, and I was reading something about it, and that's a thing that happens in a lot of films, is you just need to reshoot something. I mean, it just happens.
It happens in a lot of movies, but another movie with a lot of reshoots in it is Star Wars Rogue One. That's what they're doing right now, is reshooting a ton of shit.
And so we don't know
because Disney hated it.
Yeah, and Disney hated it.
They came out and they were like, this is garbage. They told the guy, and he's like, okay, I'll work harder, you know? It's like, okay, you're doing your job now.
Crack the whip, I guess.
Anyways.
But yeah, no, so, like, they're doing these reshoots on Suicide Squad based on reaction to trailers.
Right.
And the specific thing that was noted from the reactions to trailers was the character interactions, like the kind of jokey, lighthearted stuff, when they like camaraderie, just kind of like like I don't even know what the fuck I'm trying to say, but like when two people like come together over humor or something.
Right.
And the stuff that Marvel's been doing the whole frickin' time.
Yep.
And it's like, that was like the key thing, like, oh, we didn't really have any of that in the movie besides what was in the trailer, was the thing that I heard. And it's like, okay, if that's true,
then your movie awful.
Then Suicide Squad was just continuing the trend of tonally missing the point of like superhero movies. Like,
yep.
So if they finally get it through their heads that like, oh hey, we have to build a universe that has comedy and has lighthearted stuff, and people come together and actually has character building, and we have to use the characters to explain plot elements instead of just explaining plot elements through like dialogue. Right.
Here's what I don't like about Suicide Squad so far, just based off trailers and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I was under the impression that Jared Leto's Joker was going to be kind of like a very much of a side character.
Yeah, that's what I heard. He was supposed to be super minor.
Yet he's getting top billing. And it's just like, in these reshoots where they like, we need more Joker.
Yeah, like...
That's very possible.
Yeah, they could be more
Because people were like, dude, because in the initial trailers that came out, you barely saw the Joker at all. And that I liked that.
Yeah, like,
I was like, I want him
Joker.
To be this hint. Yeah, I want him to be this hint of a character. And what I really wanted out of Suicide Squad, and I hope they do, but I have a feeling they're not going to, is I wanted Harley Quinn to play off of the Joker really well, but have him be the side character.
Yeah, right. So like have him almost be like, he says a thing and then she goes and does shit for like 20 minutes just spawning from that thing or something. Like not that he told her to do this. That was a really bad way I phrased this, but like he's just there and he says a thing and it has an effect, but she's doing her own shit otherwise.
Yeah. She's really in control of her own character, and we can talk about Harley Quinn for a long time because people have a lot of debate about that right now.
Yeah.
But we're not going to. We're going to end it there, guys.
All right, yeah, that's it. Hopefully Suicide Squad doesn't suck.
Yeah.
Hopefully the DC universe doesn't keep sucking.
Yeah, we really would like, because we'd like to see it pick up. It has so much potential and so many great characters.
Dude, they have good characters.
And their TV universe is perfect.
Dude, they kill it. They're so good at with like
Arrow
the
is
TV
amazing.
Stuff.
The Flash is amazing. Like, they're so
like it always
good.
has been. Like, and then, like another thing, Teen Titans Go, which I'm going to talk about at some point, is also amazing for a different message. Yeah.
No, I'm going to start watching it.
I'll try and find something for you to watch, but like, because you
video.
don't have to watch that one in order. But yeah, like, hopefully it gets better. Like, hey DC, we're pulling for you. Hit Chris more than me, but
yeah, it's kind of because like I just like I don't. So okay, one of the main movies that was brought up at Comic-Con was Captain Marvel.
Okay,
and I don't care about that character very much. Not because it's a girl. But it's just...
No, she really is
She's really not that interesting to me.
So like I'm
I could say the same thing about Black Panther. That character.
Yeah, like Black Panther is
that character is not interesting to me. Like in Civil War, the movie, like he wasn't that interesting.
See, then it's like I liked him. I thought he was okay, but yeah, he really wasn't. I don't want to say he was one-dimensional, but it's really just like, oh, he's just like angry and he's just trying to. And like,
I remember bringing up a point to you about Black Panther as well, like. As I was like, I think the movie is supposed to be like an origin story. And you're like, they did his origin. Like, they explained his whole origins in Civil War.
Yeah, it takes like 5 minutes.
Yeah, there's not that much to really do. I don't know. I don't know if they're like going to have a lot of shooting like in the Congo for this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what they're doing.
I have no idea.
So I think
I'm making a face now. Like, I don't know. I should probably say out loud. I don't know.
Yeah, Marvel might be stumbling a bit, potentially.
Well, no, but it was like people said that. Like, I remember somebody bringing up that same-ish point, like when Guardians of the Galaxy came out, because it's funny and people liked it, but at the same time, there's some real failings in that movie.
But people loved it.
But people fucking loved it, and it's like, I just remember that there were people who were like, yeah, they might be losing their grip, and then they've been killing it.
Yeah, and we have Guardians of the Galaxy 2 coming.
Yeah, so we have Guardians of the Galaxy 2. There's 1,000 movies coming. Like, one of them's going to fail at some point, and the question is that going to be enough to break them, or are they just going to be like, well, that one failed, and just keep moving?
I think if they don't put Gambit in the Deadpool universe, and this is my honestly feeling off of watching Deadpool,
which is not Marvel Studios anymore, like.
Not technically, I don't
because
know
it's
how
Fox. I think it's Fox.
It's Fox, yeah.
So the entire X-Men, which is all Marvel Comics universe,
yes.
But in the film universe, Fox has the distribution rights
for X-Men.
Yeah, so
that's
X-Men,
why they're not like ever included in all these fun fucking movies.
Yeah, which is why Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Is Quicksilver in the second Avengers movie?
Yes.
Yeah. So they are Avengers characters in the comics books. Like,
yep.
They actually join the team, which is why they're in those and the X-Men movies, and they're different people and different continuities.
And they join the team in Avengers 2.
Okay, yeah. And see, like, I know she was in there, but I can't remember if Quicksilver was. But yeah, like...
Yeah, he's not like a good character.
Okay, yeah.
Like, the actor's okay. He's the dude from American Horror Story, and one of the main characters, and I can't remember his name.
It's fine.
He's just okay. So, yeah, where I think we will see them stumble is with Gambit, the Gambit movie, because Gambit is...
But again, this is Fox. So you're back into Fox territory,
which is fine.
They've been fumbling the X-Men constantly. So,
but Deadpool came out and killed it.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's actually the only one that they haven't fumbled.
Yeah, and it was more of like the simplicity of story and just how like over the top it was.
Well,
and I feel like if they put Gambit in that universe with Deadpool and
that could actually work out pretty good, yeah. And like,
I think it could work out really well.
And they actually played like a really fun Gambit who's
exactly
like
where he's like really like, hey, I'm on to me, you know, like he's got like super hardcore like the
drawl.
Yeah, the French drawl from the
Cajun.
Yeah. If he's like this super overly Cajun guy, I mean, we still know it's going to be Channing Tatum, and he's a great actor. Like, he really is. People like to dismiss him, but he's a good actor.
He totally.
He doesn't get a lot of praise, so I'm praising him. Whatever. Like,
no, I like it. Like, it's like when he first showed up, I was like, "Who the fuck is this?"
I don't know if he can do Gambit, but we're gonna find out.
Yes, we're gonna find out. Yeah.
And that's that, guys. That's episode 3 of Shut Up and Talk to Me, and we will be catching you soon. Dan, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Xthodan. That's XTHODAN.
And you can find me on Twitter as well at Tracker Undertow. I'm not going to spell that out. I did that last week. You just go back to the last one. And then you can also find us on Facebook at Shut Up and Talk to Me podcast.
It's a Facebook group. Join up.
Yep, there's a group, and that's that. Come say hi, and we will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.